Okay, we're going to give it a couple minutes and then we're going to get started. First of all, my name is Justine, LL Farms on the platform, and I'm currently in the working group, the elected chair in the working group. And I guess that means that I get to run this lovely meeting. The rest of the working group is here, most of them, and they will be jumping in as they wish, and anyone else as well. We do ask that just, common courtesy here, mute yourself if you're not speaking. This is an open forum. Anyone can ask questions either through text or voice, and we will open it up at the end for anyone to bring a concern forward, a question, feedback, whatever you wish. The goal here is to have open communication with the community, to give an update on what the working group is doing, and also to kind of explain where we are as far as gathering proposals, answer some questions we've been getting, and to clarify some things because there is a lot of confusion still. And so we want to make sure that things are as clear as possible. And we are recording this and it will go on the platform as well. So first things first, I'm just going to clarify what this group is and what the working group is. So this Steem Alliance is the idea of a foundation, and the goal of the foundation is to be the combined face of the chain, working alongside additional groups like the Block Trades Worker Proposal, as well as Steem Inc. to better the Steem platform as a whole. The main goal here is to help push Steem into the mainstream arena with focus on marketing, upkeep of Steemit.com, development, outreach, and Steem events. Funding needs to be both fundraising and profit-based, but Steem Inc. is confirming or stating an actual seed fund to help fund it. We are not Block Trades, and the Block Trades Worker Proposal is not the same as us. The Steem Foundation is not going to be funded by 20% of the author reward. We are different. The Block Trades current worker proposal system is a completely separate entity, and the goal is to work alongside them with the community chosen structure of this foundation. We as a working group, who are the individuals that were elected, is simply here to oversee the establishment of the future foundation and to ensure that transparency, fairness, and the community's voice is heard. When the foundation is up and running, we go away. So we are not any sort of governing body. We do not have a guaranteed place in this foundation. We are not running Steemit or Steem for that matter. We're just a volunteer group that's here to help oversee it and to help this foundation. So that I just wanted to clarify first. Anybody have any questions on those specific things? No. Okay. So the next thing I was going to go into is we did put a post out for a Q&A. The only question that we got on there is about how witnesses can run their servers with no CO2 emissions. Considering we're not witnesses and we have nothing to do with that, I'm going to just state it here that that was the question we received. And if anybody would like from the working group to try to answer that, by all means, but I don't think it has anything to do with us. So yeah, clarifying that. Green witness. Yes, go for it. Sounds like a great idea. It has nothing to do with us. Yes, Bluefin Studios. I know I was just hearing this too. The initial working group receives absolutely nothing. We get no payment whatsoever. So we are definitely not receiving 20% of any author rewards. The foundation is not going to be funded by 20% of author rewards. And we as the working group get nothing whatsoever. We're just here to try to help. So thank you for asking that question, because that was something I just recently heard. Now we're working for free just to get wonderful feedback and comments. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to do is talk about the worker proposals. And I was hoping somebody else would jump on chat here with me because I feel like I'm talking to a room. But the next thing that I want, are you here? Thanks. I'm here. The next thing I wanted to just talk about is a few days ago, we as the working group had a meeting to discuss how these proposals would be collected. A lot of feedback came from the community, and we sort of took all of that and tried to make a fair way to collect these, but also an organized way. And the reason I say organized is because everyone saw that original nominee post where we didn't give much information. We didn't really know what we were looking for. And in return, we got a lot of chaos. So the goal here is to not filter any proposals. It's not for the working group to decide what proposals of this structure should look like, but our goal is to organize it in a way that individuals know what we're looking for. A big thing of that is a lot of times when we say proposal, some individuals think that this is for funding. So if you have a great way to fix the trending page of steemit.com, that's awesome. That's not a proposal that we want right now, because this is not a proposal for funding. This is a proposal for the structure of the foundation. So how do we go then to the public and collect these in a fair way that also leaves room for a lot of communication and collaboration? And so with the working group itself, we came up with an idea. And the goal is we will be soon pushing out a post that will simply state we are now gathering proposals. Here's a sample of what they would look like. It's going to be very broad and probably not specific whatsoever, so that it's very clear. We're not trying to say what you have to include, but this is sort of what we're looking at. Yes, exactly. The proposal for the design of the structure of the foundation, not a proposal for funding. So we're going to be super clear about that. We're going to release this post. No, guilty. It's not out yet. So that's what I'm telling you about now. This is going to be the goal in the next few days to get this out. And the process will be what I'm discussing now. So we're going to put out an initial post calling for these proposals. We're going to have a 2-week time period. The goal of that is to actually put your proposals together on chain, get feedback from the community. Our hope is that this feedback will actually make individuals improve their proposals. Maybe it'll make individuals actually collaborate. If one proposal has some really great structural details here, and maybe this one over here complements it, then those two can now work together and build a new proposal. Leaving a 2-week feedback time period allows individuals to not only improve, but also hear community feedback. At that point, we really would encourage individuals to do videos where they are selling their proposal, explaining it, doing a sort of overview of it along with the post. After a 2-week time period, we're going to do a town hall where we sort of discuss that and we gather these as we go along so that they're all in one place. Individuals can see what proposals are out. At that point, we want to hold feedback time, and then we're going to have a certain date where they're frozen. So you have until this date to improve your proposals. You can change them as you wish. And on this date, which will be announced, that's it. You turn them in, they have to be completed, and then the election will come. Elevator pitch video. Exactly. Yeah, if you want to give information about your proposal, use DTube. It's a really great way to put it on chain. We can all see it. The goal of the working group is to gather all these and put it in a place that's really easy to find, and also to make sure that the community is seeing them. Our idea for filtering, I say filtering very loosely here, these proposals is to hope that the community feedback does so. So if there is a complete spam proposal that has nothing to do with anything, they'll be hearing from the community, and therefore it's not us doing anything. It's not our job to what proposals come forward. In reverse to that, even if a proposal gets complete negative feedback from the community, whether that's for personal reasons or whatnot, that individual still has the right to turn that proposal in. I don't want it, it will be considered. So in this way, we are not, as a working group, choosing what's seen and what's not. The community gets to give feedback. Hopefully individuals will improve their proposal based on that. And this will all be explained in our official call for proposals post that we're working on. But I just wanted to kind of give you guys an overview of where we are, why it's taking a little longer than some people want it to, and our goal of really giving this completely to the community in an organized way. And yes, sorry, I was reading the chat. Yes, our hope is to have actually places in the Discord for these. Even if at the end, if we have certain proposals that are up for election, I don't have an issue with having different places in the Discord for them. After the election, there's still going to be work to do. There's still going to be tweaking to these proposals. If our Discord becomes the home for that, great. The goal here is just simply to make sure the community's voice is heard with us organizing it so it's not chaotic, and that everyone's voice is heard, not just specific. The feedback on the proposals, Surfer Marley, is just simply feedback, comments. There's going to be no stake-weighted voting in this initial feedback stage. It's just simply feedback from the community. Now, when we go into actually voting for these proposals of what structure will be chosen, then of course some sort of stake-weighted will be used, but we don't have specifics on that quite yet. We're working on that, Guilty. That's what we're working on currently, is a proposal template or a checklist, and that will be in the post specifically, so that way individuals have an idea of what we're looking for. Great idea. Yeah, a tag for the proposals would be great to make them easy to find. We did discuss using one specific tag. Base Shadow, we're not actually responsible for taking any proposals and using it whatsoever. Community chooses as a proposal is their choice. If individuals choose to take multiple proposals and combine them into one to make a separate proposal, that's acceptable and actually encouraged. If a structure is chosen based on that structure, that's how the foundation members will be chosen. And at that time, this foundation will evolve and things will change and improve. And of course, there's going to be work after that. So it's not just structure is that's it. There's going to be work after, if that answers the question. Shadows, did you see anything in there that I hadn't seen and covered?
I think you caught everything as it came along, except Starkers just asked, will the name change?
The name change. I apologize to poor Matt about this. From the beginning, this name is just a placeholder that was never designed to be the name of the foundation or anything of that matter. If changing it right now made sense, we would, but it just doesn't. So whatever proposals come in will have their own names. The Steem Alliance is just simply a placeholder to get it started. I wrote, if you can get me a tech to figure out that Steem Institute account, I'm all for it. I have all the keys except the master.
So to answer Soundwave's Photon, I know he's trolling, but we'll answer it anyways. There's already a couple of entities on the platform, one in existence and another one coming out that are using Alliance. So it will become confusing if we leave it.
Yeah, and to be perfectly honest, anyone who has seen the transcripts, just so that's clear on here, what essentially happened is a totally different name was chosen. And we had an account, and myself, made the account and made a mistake. You can go read my wonderful mistake on the platform there. And we lost the ability to change the keys. So we decided that we needed an account that was secure. In a 5-second time period, Steem Alliance came up and we said, go, 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 and didn't really consider the name until after. So yes, the Business Alliance is one. There's the Alliance, which is a group. So yeah, it's just a name that kind of conflicts with a few others. So we've asked about the name a few times. And I think that a name change is definitely in the books, but that's not really our choice to make. It's the most helpful at the moment, but all of these proposals, I assume, would have their own names.
But Shadow has asked, he says, so not a vote and use one proposal, and that cherry picking from different proposals could be done. If I'm hearing him correctly, I think the answer to that would be no, we won't be able to be doing cherry picking from proposals.
Well, here's how we as a working group are not choosing this proposal at all. So for us to then take all of them and say, oh, we're going to choose this, choose this, choose this, and choose this and build our own foundation goes against what we were here to do. Now, after the foundation structure idea has been chosen by the community and has a community consensus, and then whatever based on that structure, these foundation members are picked and they decide to say, okay, you know, this idea was really great. Maybe we could implement that and start picking. I don't see an issue with that. And then, of course, we would still be overseeing to ensure that it's still community consensus. But we as a group will not be cherry picking different things out of proposals and making it our own.
So Agro has asked for a review of the general timeline again.
Yeah, so the idea is to have the initial post out in the next few days. We're working on the actual sample, which is important. So the goal for us here is to stop any chaos before it happens, because we've tried to learn from our mistakes and to give individuals a clear example of what we want without being too constricted. And to not filter these proposals because that's not our job. So the goal is in the next few days to have a post out. You have 2 weeks. Feedback can happen during this time whatsoever. At the 2 week mark, we're going to kind of review. And then after the fact, there's going to be more update and more feedback given. And you can continue to change these proposals. The final date is not quite set. I think we all sort of discussed that it would probably be based on when the post came out, no more than 6 weeks. If it can be done quicker than that, then great.
That was like the coolest thing to me, that they were all doing different things and it wasn't just one.
Azaria, you've got an open mic there.
And the Barbara Ann song, because it's kind of like a roundish thing. I don't know, it tickled me.
Guilty Parties has said that we need to factor in the translation timelines for the request for proposal and its template. And the Hive has gone on with the mention of proposals. What is 2 weeks to write a proposal? Is this proposal for the structure of? And he's got question marks.
Okay, I'm seeing that too. Sorry, my phone was ringing, so I was trying to mute it. So I will touch base on Guilty Parties first. That's sort of our goal. Is so the 2 weeks timeline is just simply we're going to give some feedback after. So this gives individuals time to write their proposals. 2 weeks maybe to start with the idea. At that 2 week mark, we hope that individuals are at a place that they can start receiving feedback. That doesn't mean that it's over. So after this, it's just sort of a touch-up period, a feedback period. Hey, at this time, we're going to have a town hall. So if there's any issues happening, we can address them. We can also start to give feedback as a community. After that point, it's still open. So we are trying to factor in the translation timelines as well as how long it's going to take someone to write a proposal. Depending on how detailed they're doing this, 2 weeks is not enough. So 2 weeks is not the cutoff period. It's just sort of a in-between. Halftime, let's all meet up and discuss it. Then you can continue on with feedback. You can continue writing your proposals. You can continue adding on to them. By 2 weeks, we hope you have an overview idea, if that makes sense. That you could explain to someone, this is sort of my idea for a proposal, but I'm still working on details. No, the Hive, we are not saying there's no closed line on the proposal. I'm not sure of what your question is specifically. I just stated that it won't be 2 weeks to write a proposal, and this proposal is for the structure of the foundation, which is why we're here. And there will be an actual time period that is a cutoff time. We're just deciding on how long is needed. Our initial thought process was no more than 6 weeks. Yeah, so I agree. That was our thought. 4 to 6 weeks to create and review it. At the end of 6 weeks time period, possibly that's when it closes off. We're kind of leaving that open-ended at this point because we weren't sure if that was enough time.
We're trying to find a balance between enough time to get the proposal properly prepared and not dragging it out. And that's where us unable to give an actual timeline is coming in. We're trying to find a reasonable level.
Yeah, so in case these proposals are for the structure of the foundation, how the foundation should look, how it would run. This would be the proposals on, I have a great idea of how this foundation should work, and I want to build it, and this is my idea, and then the community is choosing. As far as how much detail, Starker, we sort of talked about that as well. Clearly, we need to know that it's more than an idea, that you can actually implement it, but whether salaries and specific costs need to be included in there, I feel like even if the proposal was chosen by the community with this amount given, that still has to be discussed with Steem and Inc. for funding. So those sorts of things I'm not sure need to be in the foundation themselves, maybe a range or not. But the actual funding is still going to have to be discussed. So those specifics aren't really necessary at this point, if that makes sense to everyone.
Travelers asked, only proposals in English possible, other languages as well. There'll be other languages. That's the reason we're getting the translations done on the announcement post.
And yes, and the goal is, so there will be a post coming. This is not our announcement for the proposals. We're just trying to explain things on voice because sometimes it's a little bit more easy to answer questions this way. There will be a post coming to announce these proposals, and it will give you ideas of what sorts of things need to be covered in the proposal. That's what we're working on. It's sort of a sample proposal idea that gives you an idea without trying to box it in too much. And yes, traveler proposals in English. So this is something else we talked about. All languages are going to be accepted. There are some communities who are actually gathering those to translate them into English, which is amazing. If for some reason that isn't possible, then we've also discussed having trusted translators on our side that can do that for us. So these are all things that we're kind of prepared for. This by all means is not English only, but we are on a platform that uses English as the main language. So we are trying to be as inclusive as possible. But yes, of course, if you know someone that can translate a post for you, that would be great. If not, we're going to be working with trusted translators to do this. And to address Base Shadow, I'm totally confused then as to the purpose of the working group. I thought it was the working group that was going to use community ideas and then build a base structure for the foundation. It sounds like it has morphed to where you are just going to present community tossed ideas and the foundation development onto the community. Base Shadow, that has never actually been said that the working group was going to take ideas and build it, not once. So I'm not sure where you're getting that idea. The whole idea from the very beginning was the working group was going to oversee an election and gathering of these proposals, and the community chooses which they would like to see. The details of which would continue to evolve and, of course, need to be realistic, and the individuals in this foundation need to be qualified. But no, the working group has never said that they were responsible for taking ideas and building this foundation.
Starkers, I would take your 2 points and reverse them. The proposals that scope out what the community will be voting on will come before any election.
Sorry, I'm still working down on the list. Yeah, so this seems to be a confusion that's happened a few times, even though there's been no word whatsoever from anyone involved in this organization of the sort. We are not electing foundation members before we have a foundation because we don't know what roles need to be filled. So we couldn't fill a job before there's a job. So the goal here is to get a structure idea from the community. The community will then look at all of the structure ideas or proposals, and based on an election, they're going to choose what they would like for this foundation to see. Essentially, we're looking for a community consensus. The foundation proposals for the structure of the foundation. Yes, the structure of the foundation, not what needs to be funded, but the base structure of how the foundation should work is what we're looking for in these proposals. The community then is going to give their vote on what they would like the foundation to be. After that point, the foundation is starting to get built. Once we know what roles need to be filled in this consensus structure, then we will either run an election for these community members, these foundation members. It depends on the proposal. A proposal might come forward that says, I want this board of these individuals to, and if the community chooses that, then that's chosen. A foundation structure might say, these are the roles that I need, and I want to run an election to do so. The community says, yes, that's what I want, then we'll help do so. A proposal might actually include, this is the jobs that we need, and I want to do interviews to do so and have community input. That's what we'll move forward with. So it really just depends on what structure is chosen, our next step, which makes it kind of hard because everybody wants to know what happens next and why we don't have 3 months planned out of what the next step is. But essentially, we are waiting for the community to choose it. The community is building this foundation. We are here to help oversee that it's done in an organized and fair manner. So we're building it together as we go along. So no, we don't know what happens 4 steps ahead because we have to figure out this first step.
One of the reasons that we're kind of avoiding being too detailed in what we're asking to see in the proposals is we want to see what the community comes back with, the people that are making the proposals. They could come up with some ideas that we never even came close to. So we're trying to keep it broad-based.
Yes, exactly. What you guys have to realize is that on one hand, we're being told we're not taking control enough. And on the other hand, we're being told that we are trying to control too much. So we were not elected to control anything. We were simply elected to try to oversee this in a fair way. So at some point, something is not our responsibility. Now, what Inertia said is there's a proposal. It's a valid one. If someone made a proposal that says, I want this working group that we already elected to take all of these different proposals and choose what they think would be great as a structure, and we want them to build it, that would be a valid proposal. Is it one that would be accepted by the community? Who knows? That's up to the community. That's not up to us. So that would be a valid proposal. So it's definitely based on what the community wants and what they want to see the structure become.
So Surfer Marley has asked, so it's proposals for the structure being approved by the community? Yes. And 2, she's asked, people being elected into the foundation's board, and then the worker group passes the work over to the board. We have to first have an election on which proposal is going to be used as the structure. And then we can move to whether we need an election for a foundation's board.
Yes, exactly. Because that's one thing that we ourselves can't say, okay, this proposals have to include this, and then we're going to elect individuals from the community to be in this foundation. There might be a proposal out there that has a set board already. And if the community wants to see that, then that was what would happen. Now, the working group will not go away until the foundation is set. So our real goal is to be, or what our job is, I guess, is to be sort of overseeing the whole building of it. We were elected by the community to ensure that it is fair, transparent, and that the community's voice is heard. So we are going to be here until the foundation is ready. Then we go away, and the foundation is built by the community. So it's up and running.
I think we've got the questions to this point. Yep, here we go with Starkers. Is there anything that you guys are doing to prevent there being an amount of steam power in the future foundation team that would allow it to do a hostile takeover of the chain? Is this in the working group's remit?
So I guess what he's on within the foundation, let me clarify this, Matt, and you can tell me if I'm right or not. Within the foundation, if there will be some sort of limit of what stake individuals can have to be involved, is that what you're? Yeah, I would agree with Guilty that there is there's no way that the foundation can take over the chain, as there will be things that are super clear in bylaws. I think one of the other misconceptions here, and I'll kind of just go based on the conversations that we've been involved with, is this is not the Steem Alliance account is going to get $35 million thrown into it, and this foundation can just do whatever they want with it. And they can start upvoting their friends, and they can, fund their projects. This is not how it's going to go. There are bylaws involved that you have to do A, B, and C. Most likely there will be a third party that actually holds the funds. There's lawyers, there's accountants involved. This is all discussed from the very beginning. And that's where the amount that many people laughed at from the beginning was the legal fees to get a foundation set up. So this is a serious thing. This is a foundation that will be working alongside Steem and Inc. and possibly the block trades worker proposal. This is not just an account that's going to start getting out delegation and funds how they see fit. So at this point, there is no restriction based on how much stake individuals in the foundation can have. To be perfectly honest, I think doing so would be really detrimental for the foundation. We need the most qualified individuals there. This is my personal take. It doesn't need to be a popularity contest. We need individuals that are qualified, whether that be a minnow, whether that be someone brand new on the platform, whether that be a witness. To me, we need the best people there. So actually focusing on stake or limiting who can be in the foundation is detrimental to us as a community. Just my own personal opinion that we need to focus on who's qualified. And I'm trying to read through this.
Surfer Marley's brought up a concern about the way the election will be conducted. That actually is a whole conversation that the working group is going to be having. There are some people that are on board on the working group that have some expertise in setting up systems and working stuff out, and they're going to be a real asset to the group in figuring out the most fair and having an ability or inability to game the system built into it. So Starkers has asked, what if the Foundation starts coordinating its witness voting? That's an interesting question, but there could be something written into a proposal that would limit the Foundation from voting.
Yeah, that has to come from the community.
Mitigated by the fact that, I don't think that the Foundation is looking for steam power specifically. It's going to be liquid for the most part, so it's not an issue for chain direction. I think what he's stating is the actual members of the Foundations somehow work together to take over the chain, which is a valid concern, I guess, but how can that not happen now with them just combining all the steam power that they have on the platform? So while I understand the concern, that has to come from the community in form of a proposal, or they put it forward as this has to be included or we won't vote. That has to come from the community if they want to see a limit there. And just to clarify with Surfer Marley, I just wanted to touch on that. Yes, so the reason we're not even discussing how the voting would happen is in these, let's say, 2 to 4 weeks that individuals are working on their proposals, our job then will be to work on how this voting will happen. If we have to build a whole nother tool, like Shadows said, we have the individuals here that can help that. This has been a discussion that has been talked about a lot. I think we want to get a lot of community feedback on that. Me personally, this is the discussion I'm looking forward to most. How do we balance stake, weight, and popular vote? How do we ensure that the most individuals are heard, but that on the other hand, we are a proof of stake platform? So that conversation will be a long one, and I think there will be lots of voice meetings for that. But at this point, we're not even there. And during the process where individuals are working on their proposals, we will be focusing on that just to make sure we're there.
Yeah, I think one of the most important parts is that you make it clear right from the start. So whatever the way is you're going to measure it, you have to be clear right from the start, like announcing it from the very beginning. How is it going to work? Because I was just doing a community voting, and I figured that it was a whole mess in the end because we don't have tools for it right now. And it's really hard to organize a voting where you have more than 20 participants. And I'm pretty sure you're going to have more than 20 proposals. So if you're already working on that from the technical part, I think it's a really great asset. So to really start thinking about that right from the beginning.
Yeah, definitely. This was brought up immediately, the how. And so that is definitely something that we are going to be really, really detailed on. I think kind of where we are, just so everybody knows, and this will be clear in the post, is currently we're going to announce, start working on your proposals. We're going to give you a time frame of where you kind of have to be in. And then when it's time to collect the proposals, at that point, it will be extremely clear how voting will happen. All the details will be listed, and it will be very clear from the start before any voting happens exactly how it's going to go. And hopefully at that point we've thought of absolutely every situation and got all the kinks worked out. And this is why we're not even stating now how it's going to be done, because we want to work on that more to make sure it is. So while proposals are being worked on, this will be our main focus. And before anything is collected or any talks about how the election will happen, we will have all the details ready and announced and clear as crystal for everyone.
At least we hope. Bluefin is,
and also
that's the goal.
And also try to keep it simple. So from my experience, the shorter the way, the merrier. So if you have to log in several tools, for example, and follow and click 3 or 4 times, then people are going to get lost. So if you have a voting tool where you enter and place the vote and leave, that's the best what you can ever do. I don't know if such tool exists already or if you're going to build one, but you really will have a lot of participants if you're going to make it easy and quick. So then it's going to be yeah, it's going to be fun for the whole community and not just for a part of it.
Definitely. No, ease of use. Yeah. I think that individuals like myself who are very non-tech will be there to go, that's way too complicated. So trying to make it as easy as possible is definitely going to be the goal, but also organized, fair, and transparent is the goal as well. So that is definitely in the focus. And I do want to just address, because Face Shadow is asking a question, and I did state it previously, but just to ensure that there's no confusion of what this foundation is, or what it's supposed to do. The foundation is not the block trades worker proposal. It's not the same thing. We are completely separate, but also we'll be working alongside projects like that as well as Steem and Inc. The goal of this foundation is to be the combined face of the chain. It's to, the main goal is to help Steem be pushed into the mainstream arena. I mean, it's to get Steem noticed. Marketing, whether that be through upkeep of steemit.com, future development of it, improvements, outreach, onboarding, Steem events, funding needs to be fundraising based, and also donations. Also, it'd be really great if we can somehow form a way for it to be profit based, and then Steem and Inc. has committed funding. So the goal of this foundation is to improve Steem. You're making structure proposals on how you feel that the foundation should be built. I hope that answers the question. Please let me know. If not, I'm still scrolling down questions. So if somebody else sees one and wants to bring it to my attention that hasn't been answered yet.
So Traveler's made the comment we should work with a short list. Traveler, the part of the purpose in doing a first initial round of proposals is the hope that the list will be shortened because some of the people doing proposals will see opportunities to collaborate and work with each other, and that'll shorten the list on its own.
Yeah, I mean, that was.
Go ahead.
No, that was sort of our idea from the beginning, was how do we sort of filter out the trolls, with lack of a better phrase there, without us controlling what the community gets to vote on, because that's really kind of slippery. If we start picking and choosing what the community gets to vote on, we're not being fair and transparent. So while having the proposals go out, the community gets to give feedback. And if it's a completely insane idea that has nothing to do with anything, the community will tell them. If it's a great idea, but it's missing A, B, and C, and hey, this proposal over here has A, B, and C, we hope that those two collaborate to make a third, make a whole new proposal. That's really the goal of this feedback time, is to encourage collaboration so that we can get the best structure possible, and it's not some sort of competition. The goal is for the community to build the best structure we can, and that's going to come from collaboration and feedback.
So Starkers raised the concern about the need to build conflict of interest out from the start, from the proposals, in terms of the amount of influence the combined power of the individuals from the teams has in terms of selecting witnesses. We've had some real concerns about conflict of interest right from the start, and it's something we're pretty tuned to, or trying to be.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we're very aware of, and we're doing our best to address, and we will continue to do so. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's one of those things that it's something we always have to worry about on this platform, and it's one of the main issues that we are trying to address.
I'm not sure of the pronunciation. Isra Music has said, what should be the structure of a proposal? Just an idea, project in a general perspective, or would it be needed a high detailed description of all the information about it?
So our goal is, we talked about this, and having every single detail, maybe towards the end, they'll have most of the details worked out. An idea is great. If you can't implement it, it's worthless. I might have a really great idea of how the structure will be built, but if I have no idea how to actually build it, then I need to get with someone who can and work on a proposal with that. So by the 2 weeks time, we want to see some sort of an idea. By the end, we want to see some sort of detail, maybe not every single dollar amount taken care of, not every single detail, but the proposals need to have an idea of how to build this, because they're going to be responsible for building it, along with the foundation members. So, and us. So this is something that it can't just be an overview idea. It has to have some depth to it. I wanted to clarify, I just saw one as I was coming through here. Steem at QA. The foundation will come out of worker proposals, I believe. The foundation will have its own funding. The worker proposal is separate. Now, if that means that the worker proposal, or let's say the foundation has some idea they want to apply for the worker proposals, I don't see that being an issue, but the foundation and the worker proposals are separate and will have separate funding.
So Starkers has asked, is there a minimum requirement for what each proposal should include so people have apples to apples comparison?
That is the goal in the announcement post, and that's what's taking us so long to work on this. So yes, we were trying to give sort of a minimum requirement, an idea, an example of what needs to be included, so it's not just a full-on everything goes.
I'm just scanning here to see what else is here.
Soundwaves has a pretty good point, or at least a valid question.
Okay, what is it?
Scrolling up, I see it says, Soundwaves is saying, what if different proposals have great ideas? Can the working group combine all the best parts of the proposals and create a crowdsourced proposal? I believe you covered that earlier on, LL, that the intent of this sort of comment period was to get out there and people put out their concepts for their proposals. And maybe during the feedback period, the next couple of weeks, if people see, oh, that's a good idea, maybe they will on their own organically start working together. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. And community feedback that's saying, hey, we love this part of this proposal and we think it would go really great with this part of the proposal. As a working group, I don't know that it's wrong for us to say, hey guys, the community's saying you should work together. If they say no, we don't want to, then that's fine. But if we can somehow encourage collaboration, great. But we as a working group, unless, as Inertia said, if this is a proposal that's chosen that the working group now cherry picks and builds a community crowd, that's not our job. So our job is to help encourage collaboration, but we will ourselves not be picking from each proposal to build it, unless there's some proposal put forward that asks for that and the community chooses. I keep saying that just because Inertia brought it up, but this is not something I really see happening. I'd really like to see the collaboration of the community with us encouraging it. But no, as of right now, our job is not to pick and choose anything. But we're hoping that the whole point of this feedback period is that individuals will collaborate. The community will tell them to. The community is giving them feedback. And therefore, this collaboration happens because this is not a contest. This isn't a contest to see who wins. It's about building the best foundation we possibly can as a community. And it's sort of all of our job to help make that happen. So we're hoping people get involved in the feedback. We hope individuals get involved in collaboration with these proposals and that it's not just some sort of thing individuals want to win, but rather, we've got to do the best we can. And that's going to come from combining the crowd itself.
So Goodnight has asked, how many of you have a scaled proposal in the process of assembly for presentation? I'm assuming he's asking the audience this because we don't.
Yeah, we are not making, that's not something we're doing. And I'm scrolling too, trying to see if I've missed anything. Apparently I'm way up there.
Agrota said he's on a team working on one. Hive says he's worked on one for over a year. Apparently he knew this was coming.
Great. Yeah, we hope that once this opens up, the community really gets involved and the feedback starts happening and individuals can improve on those, or if it's already ready to go, the community will see that. And yeah, to just try to drive this in as much as humanly possible. This foundation is whatever we choose it to be. We have to build it though, the community. No one's building it for us. There's not some third party that's saying, oh great, we're going to pick your guys' ideas and we're going to come up with something better. It's us. So, we as a community have to come together to build it. And that's the whole point of this group, is to try to organize that the best way possible without pushing an agenda, without running the show. At some point, we have to take input and we have to make the decisions that we were elected to do. But I think everyone in there is very clear on what's not our job and what is. And we're having guidelines come out to sort of show the community that as well and what we've committed to make sure that that's clear. but yeah, it's the whole community, not the working group. It's not just our job. It's everyone's job to help build this.
Serge has asked how many of the working group members are here. I haven't actually looked to see.
I haven't either. I know Eon's here. Shadows is on with me. Inertia spoke earlier. I know Jan couldn't make it. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. Our times are a little bit tough. Travis is not able to make it at this time because he's in Asia and it's a weird time period for him. The last time we had a group meeting, we were all able to make it except one who was traveling. So that was a pretty big accomplishment considering we're all over the globe. To address this, because I've heard it a few times that we are U.S. based and focusing on U.S. times. We're not. The working group is made out of people all over the world. And that does make coming together to work on this a little bit difficult at times. I think 2 out of the 11 are actually U.S. based, if that. I'm not even sure. So yes, our goal is to include everyone, and trying to work a time period that works for everyone is really hard, but we're doing our best. We want to have more of these town halls. And as we said in the post, if we needed to, change the time each week, we can. We'd at least like to have a set day so that it's a standard kind of scheduled thing so individuals don't forget. But our goal is to be completely inclusive. But at some point, we sort of have to say, we can't get everybody here at the exact same time, so we'll do it this way for now, and then we'll fluctuate as we need to. So I just wanted to address that because I'm still getting comments on that.
Okay, I'm seeing comments coming in, but any real questions at the moment. Except Sir from Marley just asked, are the top 20 witnesses mainly supporting this idea? Have they voiced their opinions at any time? It'd be great to have them on board right from the start.
I can address that. I think, as many individuals on this platform, that they need to see some action happen. I think to state that individuals do not trust Steem and Ink is pretty easy to say. I think some individuals are not sure that this is real and that anything will come of it. And hey, nothing may come of it. We might all fall on our face and not be able to pull together as a community and build this. That's a clear possibility. I believe, this is my personal belief, that individuals that maybe are weary of this, as they start to see developments happen and they start to see the commitment from the community, that of course they'll get on board. But the foundation doesn't need the top 20 witnesses to be a foundation. It's completely separate from witnesses. It will not run alongside the witnesses. The witnesses, that's my plan, Mark. Or Matt, I'm trying to improve it, or we'll all die trying. That's the goal. But yes, the witnesses are in charge of running the blockchain. That's their job. They're not in charge of governing the blockchain. They're not in charge of running funds for the blockchain. So if some want to get involved and support this, great, but it's not necessary. So I hope that answers it. But at this time, I mean, there's definitely been a few that have showed up and said, this is really great. I hope it works. There's been some that have said this is just some other ploy and it's never going to work. But we get that from all users. So there's people on both sides, and then there's people in the middle that are just trying to make it work. And I think more will get on board as they see it kind of coming together.
Yeah, I was just asking in general, because since they have a lot of influence, as we all know, not saying that their opinion is crucial to what we do or what we plan, but I think it's always great to have as many people on board as possible, and knowing that they have a large stake of Steem also, and that they probably will have considerable influence on the proposals. Maybe it would be cool to have them on board right from the beginning, just to know what I think about it, and just to get their opinion on it.
Yeah, definitely. And they have been talked to. They have. I definitely, from the very beginning, sort of, many of us brought it to many different people's plate, I guess. My words are not coming out very clearly today. But yeah, they are aware of what's happening. Many are in the server. I know they're watching. I think they're all, the best way that I can explain this, and it was told to me by a specific one, was they're all sort of in a watch and wait. They are hopeful. They're optimistic. They're waiting to see what happens. I think that stakeholders on this platform are important because they're stakeholders, and these sorts of things cannot happen without them necessarily. But on the other hand, we as a community can build it whether they're there or not. So I totally agree with you, and I have reached out, and I will continue to do so. But on the other hand, they kind of have to come to it when they see that it's something they want to support. But many were aware of it from the very beginning, so I can say that.
I think we
Yep,
also
and
need
there's
to
3
remember,
tops in here right now.
I think we also need to remember that while the top 20 tend to be visible, they are not the only large stakeholders on the platform. There are a lot of others that are definitely watching.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think they've been involved in the server. They've given great feedback. The top has given feedback as well. They've been active. They are sort of, yeah, like you said, they're always sort of behind the scenes and in the shadows. But the main thing that I've heard from them is this could be really great for the community, and I hope it works. At this point, not much can be done from a stakeholder standpoint. You know, we're all sort of brainstorming, and we're all trying to organize. There's been a lot of housekeeping happening so far. So I'm hoping when the time comes that their voice is heard as well.
Okay, I don't see any other questions at the moment. There's some people typing.
Yeah, I was just reading. Yeah, I was just seeing Bluefin's response to Peter, so I was reading. I'm sorry, I'm horrible at reading and talking, so excuse the random silences.
Traveler, what should be made very clear in the announcements that we're missing?
Yeah, I'm not following that either.
I think the idea that the foundation may have nothing to do with code, is that what you guys are referring to?
Oh, I see. And by the same token, it may be funding code too, coding projects.
Yeah,
It may be funding
it could
side
be doing
projects. Right.
Yeah, so the idea here is, you know, there's so many things that Steem and Ink has been said they should be doing. And I'm only bringing up Steem and Ink because clearly this was Ned's idea, and the foundation will be designed to work alongside Steem and Ink, but Steem and Ink is not running the foundation. So all of these things like marketing and improvement of Steem.com and onboarding and all of these things that everybody says, why is Steem and Ink not doing this? Essentially what they're saying is we want to focus on the blockchain, and we want you as a community to come together and focus on all this stuff, and we'll help you fund it. So the idea is simply that we as a community are taking this stuff over if we can pull it together.
So, Starkers, to answer your question, he's asked, how do you guys feel everything's going? Is there anything you guys need support from the community with, or any shortcomings and upcoming challenges? Considering that we're in a project that we're basically starting literally from zero, I would say it's going well. We've had some, spits and starts, but we've managed to work past them. As far as support from the community, I think the biggest support this community could give is actually paying attention to the information that we put out and not making up their own stories about how it's working.
Yeah, what I'll say is I know that in the beginning things were really confusing and that we sort of failed on some communication. But if individuals could see why that is, and I'll explain here, I know I've done it at a couple of different places. So when this started, and I do agree that this is not Ned's idea. When I say that, I mean that Ned said, let's do this, and I'll throw some money at it. You guys help me. You guys do it. I don't want to control it. So I'm not saying this is Ned's brainchild, but he very much said, let's make this happen and I will fund it. So that's what I mean when I say Ned's idea. The individual that's funding it is sort of important. Not saying that they should control it, but they're a part of it. So I'll say that in any sort of foundation, the main funder is going to then be able to say, hey, this is a really great idea and this is how I'd like to see it. This is what I want to fund. Now, if we build something they don't want to fund, but we as a community can fund, great. That's also another option. As far as what the community could do, yes. So how this started, and I'll clarify this, and I'm not going to read as I do this, is so there was a random Discord note put out by Ned that said, I have had this thought for a while and I'm looking for who in the community would be good to help run it. I think it was 14 names were initially nominated by the community, not on chain, just random Discord channels. And
Those 14 were pulled into a chat room. All of this is on the platform in transcript form. There was a conversation had that turned into a Discord server, which you're in now. A voice chat happened. Before that voice chat, though, we 14 were the ones who were going to be helping this happen. He had chosen 3 more, or the 14 chose 3 people to kind of run it, to help it be made. And so we put that post out, that initial post out that said, here's the idea and who from the community would like to be a part of it, because we wanted to get more nominees from on-chain, not just Discord server. And then we had hundreds of names come up. Now, after this, what had happened is a working group was elected in this Discord, but it wasn't announced before. So then the choice became, we need to now have an election from the community to choose this working group because it shouldn't be behind the scenes. So we had a post out already asking for nominees, and now we had to put another post out asking for completely different nominees, and we had to essentially pause what we were doing to now run an election for a new working group. And that's where the chaos and confusion happened, because now we had 2 different nominees being talked about for 2 completely different things, and that caused a ton of confusion. And we apologize for that. But as I've said, in order to have a completely transparent organization that is built by the community, we are going to have to deal with a little bit of mess. And I'll explain that, because if these 14 individuals were left in a room by themselves, completely private, and told to plan this, we'd probably already be done. And I don't mean that in sort of a mean way, but 14 individuals sitting in a private room could come up with these things much quicker than everything be put to the community. But then it wouldn't be the community's foundation. It wouldn't. It would be these 14 individuals, and we would still have secret chats. So the goal here is to make it transparent and make it the communities. And with that comes a little bit of mess, and you're going to have to kind of help us along the way, because once things are out there, it's hard to then say, oh, okay, well, we decided that won't work. We need to do this instead. So yeah, please, read what we've put out. Try to get answers and spread the facts. And if you see someone saying something that's completely non-factual, please do us a favor and change that, or come to us. If you have a question, please, if there's something we can improve on to actually spread more of the facts, please tell us. We're all volunteers. We're all here just trying to help, and we're really doing the best we can, but trying to improve from the mistakes that we've seen. So as a community, get involved, but also ask questions and share the feedback. Videos would be great. These posts here that are recorded are great. If somebody wants to do an overview, great. But yeah, information is gold, and we have to share it. And when people kind of run and make their own narrative, it's unhealthy. It's not helpful. And so that's I guess my big question. I know that was a long rant. That's my request from the community to help.
And we've had some interesting comments while you were talking there. Starker says, in theory, the value proposition here should be the community should be able to do and build things more efficiently and effectively than Steem and Inc. Guilty has pointed out, the foundation isn't about getting easy money for projects. It's about supporting beneficial development on the Steem chain. It's not, and I doubt we'll ever be getting 100K for a DApp someone copied and adapted from some OS GitHub repo. And AdGrowth says they had a hard time walking and chewing. This is in reference to Steem and Inc. The community can offload a lot of work off their plate and likely do it better and faster if it's a well-organized approach, which is what we're trying. And Bluefin says, or also that the community can see the sides of Steem that need more attention than Steem and Inc. does not see. I hope I've captured a few of the more interesting.
And I'm here too. Yeah, and someone had said, Steem and Inc. just got people to work for them for free. Yeah, I mean, this working group is essentially, I think we all see a potential here, and we're working our asses off to make it happen for free. We're not getting anything for this. So the goal here is to try to make this happen. If Steem and Inc. decides that they don't want to fund this project whatsoever, that's their choice. Do I think that's going to happen? I wouldn't be sitting here if I did. If I didn't think that Ned and Steem and Inc. were committed to funding this foundation, I wouldn't be spending hours upon hours upon hours a week to try to make this happen. Do we have something in writing? No, because we don't have a structure for a foundation. If the community chooses some foundation that Steem and Inc. doesn't want to support, they don't have to.
So as long as it's good for the community, I very much think that the funding will happen, but we need a foundation first before we can have funding. And yeah, I think Agrod's point of this is proposals. The next ones are for the structure of the foundation, not for any sort of funding. Needs to be very clear. If you guys could help share that. This is not a time to turn in your proposal for how you think Steem and Inc. should be improved or how the platform steemit.com should be improved. This is for a proposal for the full structure of this community foundation, how it will work, what it will look like, what sort of voting would happen to get funding, all of it. So that's what we're really focusing on right now.
And I think we could appreciate a couple of comments here that Hive has said we're not working for Steem and Inc. for free, we're working for the community for free. And Surfer Marley has said usually any team bigger than 3 people becomes unproductive. So what the worker group's trying here, involving a whole community of thousands, is real heroism. I don't know about heroism, but we're going to find out what we can make happen.
Yeah, I mean, not heroism. There's been a ton of people not in the working group that have been extremely beneficial. The first working group was, gosh, there's no way that we could even be sitting here without them. So, but yeah, I think to understand that is really clear. The working group here is to help this community build this. It's not to do Net a favor, and it's not to do Steem and Inc. a favor. And if they hear this and are offended by it, sorry, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to help the community. And I think that's the rest of the working group would agree with this. We are here on behalf of the community because we think that this would be beneficial for the community. And all we need to do is come together to build it, which takes a bit of organization. And we're here elected by the community to help organize it. If it's all for nothing, it's all for nothing. We all know what we signed up for. This is a very big possibility. Is it what has to happen? I don't think so. I'm extremely optimistic. And I think if we can somehow as a community come together and pull this together, it would be huge for the community, extremely beneficial, and get Steem to where we know it should be and kind of take it into our own hands. So yeah, I mean, I don't think we'd be sitting here if we felt that this was not doable.
So Starkers has asked, excuse my ignorance, but how many weeks are you giving in order to give people a chance to submit fair apples-to-apples proposals? There's going to need to be a good amount of time for people who are submitting to be able to clarify things so that judging of proposals is fair and it avoids controversy.
Yeah, so starting that, and we want feedback, but our initial thought process was 6 weeks till it's finished completely. You have no more changes on your proposals. So we felt that asking for ideas and overview in 2 weeks' time so that the community can then give feedback and and individuals can start to improve their proposals and start adding details that are needed was a good starting point so that they have some sort of timeline. I need to be able to explain my proposal by this date, and then I can start getting into the details of it. I think we've also sort of talked about the 6-week time period. If we hear some sort of uproar about how that's not enough, then clearly we can kind of tweak that. But that's still sort of up in the air. Like, want to drag this out, as many people have said we have. But we also need to be fair, and we also need to include time for translations, and we need to, we have to include everyone in the best way that we possibly can. So the idea was 4 to 6 weeks, kind of final time around that 6th week was what we kind of talked about, but this is just a talk about. So if somebody thinks that this is not fair, and it needs more time, then please let us know. This is our time frame that we're considering at this point.
Bluefin's made the comment, if there's one thing learned, it's the moving on the chain takes longer than anyone ever sees.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that anything on the chain always takes a little bit longer. I think Surfer Marley's comment about earlier is very true. If we had a small group doing this, of course it would be quicker. But when you include thousands of individuals, it gets a little bit more messy and we have to sort of take more time to do it. But again, like I said, if we didn't do it this way, then it wouldn't be the communities.
Yeah, I think it's a fine line. It's a fine line between you want to be this to become efficient, but on the other hand, you want to involve everybody. And everybody means like literally everybody. And I really, appreciate your efforts in trying to get this together because it's definitely not easy. I don't think we have ever had a project like this on Steem. where everybody really had a chance to get involved. And I really appreciate what you're doing here. It's really great.
It is a first.
It's definitely
Yes.
the first I know. I don't know. I have been on Steem for 2.5 years. There might be some people who have been here even for a longer time, but I don't think we have ever had something like this.
Not that I'm aware of, and I've been here over 2 years as well. So I'd say this is definitely a first. And I think part of my fascination with it is watching this develop and how it develops.
Yeah, and even if it takes a bit longer, like you said in the beginning, maybe it's going to take 6 weeks or 8, so it doesn't matter. What matters is that we really have the chance to put this together, all of us. And I think if we go through this, and if we really come to a conclusion or a result which is really made by the community, then this is something unique. This is also something you can a way to promote Steem. Like, hey, we set up this together with the whole community. This wasn't government. It wasn't like just a leading government, telling people what to do. It was just a decentralized community decision. And I think that's really something, something you could market Steem with.
Yeah, I actually hope that someone is documenting all of this. And wouldn't this be an amazing marketing campaign after it's all done, and you could show the issues as we went along and show the community coming together to build something that improved, the platform as a whole. And if you could somehow turn that into the beneficial of a blockchain community, it could be really an amazing marketing campaign. So yeah, I agree with that. I think that we're doing revolutionary things, as a community, but we have to come together to do it. And if not, this won't happen. So I hope that message is loud and clear. I hope that individuals know that this working group is really trying. We have some issues we're working through. And we're doing the best we can. We're all volunteers, and we really appreciate the community coming here and giving us feedback and helping, because they've been a huge help. But please remember, in your frustrations, that we really are trying to do this the best way we can in the most fair way possible. That includes as many people as humanly possible. But we can't go knock on everyone's door to come vote. It's just not possible. We do have to have some sort of effort put in by the community to be a part of it as well. So we hope you guys understand that. And we will be putting a post out in the next few days to announce this official, start working on your proposals, with a date that will be sort of by this time we want you to have it ready for feedback. Just an overview, not all details. And that will be very clear in the post. And we're taking more time on that to make sure it's clear.
I think both working groups, both the first one and this one, there's been members of it have had some very thoughtful discussions about the fine line between organizing and directing. And it's been interesting with the struggle to keep it as clearly defined as possible.
Yeah, extremely clearly defined. I think that we as a working group have been, from the very beginning, very clear on any conflict of interest or implementing anything that is for our own interests, or any sort of personal projects. That's all not included. And if it was, we wouldn't be sitting here. It's the community's job to kind of make sure we do that, essentially. And that's why everything is open. Everything is completely open and transparent. You can see conversations in the working group. The one thing that hasn't involved, that was not in that room, was our voice chat that we recently had, and we'll be releasing that in a post. So everything is transparent. We want the community to be regulating us as well and holding us accountable, just like we're holding each other accountable. And that's the goal. But yes, I think that Jack Miller said it great. Happen. It depends on all of us. We have to build this foundation, and if we don't, it won't happen. So that's sort of where we are. We're working to try to make it organized. A post will be out soon, and we will be updating you guys along the way. But please ask questions, give feedback, be involved.
Do you guys still have a helpful hand in getting a pinned post by Steem It Inc.?
Yes. So Steem and Ink has been really great. When we have a post that needs to get more attention, they are penning it on the actual sidebar there. That's still happening. I have sent stuff directly to Andarchy that he's done. I will spam whoever I need to get it seen. And so the goal is in the next, this next post needs to be seen. So I believe it will be pinned there. Hopefully we get a lot of re-steams. We get people talking about it so that everyone knows that this is the time to start working on your proposals, start discussing, start posting about it so you can get that community feedback.
And there are translations that are going on because I'm seeing them coming up in my Gina notices.
Yeah, there very much are. Lots of translations. And just to address Traveler, we actually kind of talked about this as far as the sample to make it kind of funny. So no one looks at it and says, oh, well, we have to do exactly this. So the goal really is, that's why we're working kind of hard on it, is to make it an example of, what your proposal needs to sort of be, but not telling you what needs to be in it. And doing that as broad as humanly possible with also saying, hey, 3 sentences isn't going to work. And, your idea in one paragraph is we need a little bit more than that. We need a little more detail, but what detail? Well, we can't really tell you because it's up to the community. So we're just giving the best idea we possibly can.
So Starker says, I have to say that I know the last few weeks have been tumultuous for your guys, but the community has really done a great job of helping you guys get a reasonably looking plan in place and has helped you consider a lot of the important questions. Also, you guys have done an impressive job too, of course. Maybe our decentralized community can build this. And Surfer Marley says,
oh, yeah.
It'd be actually amazing to set up a conference where we could talk face-to-face about all this. Something like a Steam Fest for the Alliance Foundation could be a nice boost. It may come.
Yeah, that would be great. I think sitting down at a table could solve most of the issues on Steam, and I hope that eventually that happens. But yeah, to address Matt, the community has been amazing. And I'll just say, this right here. There's been individuals that I personally butt heads with, that have given amazing feedback and have become very, influential, or not influential, but have been an important part of this process. And the goal is, it's not about me. It's not about them. It's not about who likes who. It's about the community. And, I think we're all doing a really great job of putting personal stuff aside and taking feedback in every single form and trying to do our best with it. And so I agree, community's been amazing. I hope it continues. I know a lot of people have been saying, oh, the momentum's died. Well, yeah, the drama's done. And I'm sorry that it's not as exciting in the server, but we still need feedback and we still need the community to be involved, and we are pushing forward, and these next few steps will be much more exciting than, say, guidelines. But those things had to happen because we're also running a Discord server. And as some have seen in the chat here, sometimes you have to be an admin of a Discord server and can't just focus on, say, a foundation. So all of it has sort of been a process, but yes, community's been a huge part. And I'm reading it again.
Good Night says, our duty is to figure out our own governance, isn't it? The hardest and most valuable thing we can do, and if it's done right elsewhere, why wouldn't we just adopt and modify that system? I haven't seen anybody else do it as good as we're doing.
Yeah, I think that some people have brought up foundations on other platforms and to kind of use their mistakes as ways for us to do it better. And so that's been discussed. I'm not sure if that's exactly what you mean. I know individuals were actually talking about using some of those structure proposals as examples. So actually looking at what other people have done and what they've failed at is very much a part of it. And I think it's extremely valuable for us to do. Just like our own mistakes, when we're moving forward, we need to look at the mistakes we've made. Why not use other examples as well?
So Starkers has asked, do you feel that opening this up and taking all the drama has improved this project? And is it something that you will keep doing despite the difficult situations? I would say the answer is very definitely yes. Even the meeting we took in camera, we were still going to have the transparency by releasing the recording.
Yeah, I kind of said it before. Sure, this would be way easier if it was a closed room talk. It would. But then it wouldn't be the communities, and then it's pointless. So has all of the nonsense been worth it? Yeah, I think it has. I don't know anyone in this working group who's here to make a name for themselves. I'm not. it's really not worth it if that was my goal. The goal here for us is to make this happen for the community. And I think all the actual drama or nonsense that's come along with it is completely worth it, because the end goal is worth it. And so I hope the community feels the same. I hope they feel it's worth it. I hope they'll continue to give feedback and help build this, because without the community, it doesn't get built.
Yeah, we're definitely working in a fishbowl, but I think we've been able to work with it.
Yeah, I think so. And calm down. That first week was insane. And now it's calm and we're working. And yes, we have days that we're not super active in that group, but we all have jobs and lives. And some days we can't be in there 12 hours a day. And we hope the community understands. But there are many of us that are in there every single day working on things and trying to be as clear as possible and take as much feedback as possible and try to be respectful and hear everyone's opinion as best as we possibly can. But on the other hand, too, at some point, opinions are opinions and we have to move forward. So I hope that's clear too. But community voice is our goal here. And yeah, I don't think that there's anyone who's giving up. I don't really see that. I think that this is sort of, we've stated our goal, where we are, what we're going to be doing in the next few days. I think we've answered all the questions. I know we're just over an hour, so I don't want to hold this too long. I'll open it up to any more questions, or if somebody wants to say something. This is about the community, so everyone has a mic here, and if someone wants to say something, feel free. If not, we will try to wrap this up, and then we will put the recording on the platform itself. And yeah, just to clarify, Bluefin, this working group does not get 20% of anything. The foundation is not going to be set up on 20% of anything either. So unless that's in the structure that the community votes on. So at this time, the working group is working for free. If you see a post stating otherwise, please do us a favor and tell them we're all here volunteering for the benefit of the community and not for some financial gain. That would be great. We don't have the call for proposals quite yet. I'm saying a couple days because we need to finish up the sample. I think that's really important. We're working on that. We had a few people that had said that they would help with that. And I think they had some events to go to this weekend. So I'm hoping in the next couple days. I can't really give a specific date though. But as soon as it's out, you will hear about it. I'll do an everyone tag. We will put it on the chain and make sure everybody sees it. Okay, no other questions? I'm going to ignore Rondon and his dictator. I've been called a dictator, so I'm the dictator with no pay, I guess. I don't know. And we need tokens. Okay, I think that I'm going to stop talking because I think that's about enough of me. So if nobody else has anything to add here, I don't see any other questions. I think this was a really great meeting. I appreciate you guys coming. Understand that our goal here is to keep open communication. Please give feedback, ask questions when you have them, help us spread the facts because there's only 11 of us and sometimes we can't answer every question on chain because we don't see it. So please help us with that. And yeah, thanks so much. This recording will go up as soon as possible in a post. And any other questions that come from it, please put on the post. We'll do our best to answer them. And another town hall coming in about a week. We'll give a date for that as well. Thanks, everyone.
And seriously, thank you for all of the work that the 11 of you guys are doing.